Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know, really wanna know.
Zines are something I came into contact with a few years ago, just because I really like going to record stores with my friends, and we found this zine called Dithering Doodles. And it's a local guy in Salt Lake, and he just kind of does a what do you call it, an exaggerated things that happen in his day-to-day life, and he just draws them as cartoons. So that it's kind of like a cartoon diary. A zine can be any publication that you're doing by yourself. The word just came from the word magazine, but shortened. Throughout history, some popular uses for zines in like the 60s and earlier were the Black Panther movement used them to get out information, as well as, it's random to group these two together, but sci-fi authors, there was a lot of old science fiction that wasn't being accepted by, like, it wasn't popular enough to be published broadly, and there weren't enough companies that even wanted to publish that kind of stuff. So science fiction authors used to just they just would fold paper, like these are just 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper stapled together in publishing order. And that's how they would sell their novels. So I got into it because it became a pretty big thing in the punk movement. And I'm really into punk music. And one day I actually was at my grandma's house, and I found a bunch of zines that my uncle made back when he was like a punk, bringing bands coming through St. George. So what he would do is he would interview them, get music recommendations from them, make show posters, because he also organized shows, and he put that all in in a little zine. I think it was something having Salty Dixie, something that had to do with Salt Lake and St. George. But anyway, I think zines are a really good way for students to collaborate on all sorts of things. It's just a great way to like get information through a project, and I feel like it should be an option for kids to be making these for like presentations or projects, because it's like, it could be a comic book, or it could be a completely nonfiction informational thing. Like, it can be whatever a book could be. You're just publishing it yourself. This is called Gabe Nelson's Speed Sketches. So all Gabe really likes to do usually is 3D design, and he's really good at it. But I was trying to get him to do something else, and I wanted us to collaborate more. So I remembered when he was in my zine club, when he was in like 7th grade, that he used to doodle all these comics of Team Fortress 2 characters. So every day I would just bring up I would just bring up a piece of paper to Gabe and just tell him to sketch for 15 minutes. And these were all the sketches that I got him to do. So then we put it in a zine. So this one was a combination of everyone in the center's experience with COVID. So this one was very collaborative, and it was kind of organized randomly. We just had, different stories, just drawings about feelings of COVID. My favorite one is the one above it. It's just a kid watching Dragon Ball Z. That was his COVID experience. But then I think the centerfold is, tips and tricks, and we had a bunch of kids from different centers give tips on Post-it notes. I guess the most important things that we need to know going into making a zine as this group is, well, I'll start with the technical stuff. So first of all, I decided, because this is the easiest to do with kids, that we're going to just do it on 8.5 by 11 paper, and we're going to bind it with staples. And so the easiest way to do that is to have a page number count that is a multiple of 4, because each piece of paper has 4 pages on it. So that's one thing we should keep in mind. It makes publishing really easy. And also when you're counting pages and like the page number, the front and back cover count, just like if you were publishing a magazine. Another thing to remember is that if we're going to be printing a lot of these, we should probably lean towards black and white. But as far as the not technical stuff, I think this is a good way for all of us to collaborate, well, all of the students to collaborate on a project outside of the pre-internship project, on something that's a little more creative and free. We don't have the topic chosen yet because we wanted it to be student-led, but I think we want to lean in the direction of something that's informative in a way that we could put it on our resumes, right? Sometimes it's good to have a little bit of structure. I'm in a music collective. I mean, it's kind of defunct right now, but the biggest project that we did was a zine that I kind of spearheaded it. And it was, we called it, so the music collective is called Camp Creep. It was called the Camp Creep Cookbook. So our idea originally was to come up, because we wanted to like make songwriting more accessible to everybody. So it was supposed to be like a cookbook for writing songs. So we came up with like recipes that were really just songwriting prompts or tips. But then we also did drawings of food, or it kind of spiraled out of control after we did that. But it looked really cool. And then we also each included a recipe in it. But it was totally like the page order, like it was kind of just split into who submitted it at what time, and then we published it. But a lot of people really liked it, and we sold out of all of the I mean, we can print as much as we want, but we sold out of all the copies we had listed on Bandcamp. So even if the theme is just, I mean, and our goal here is not to sell these, we can, but the goal here is just to have something really cool that we can put on our resume and just have for the rest of our lives. But anyway, the structure can just be like, hey, this is something we all made together, and it still works pretty well. The coolest part about making zines in the Teen Tech Center is we can accommodate almost any media, I guess, besides audio, but we can accommodate pretty much any art medium because we'll be assembling the final product on InDesign. And so as long as your thing fits on a page, whatever it might be, we can make, like, you don't have to worry about page order or anything for this project. For my personal projects, I do, just because I like to make my life hard. But for this project, we'll just, anything that fits on a half page of paper, and even if you drew it on a full page of paper, anything that will scan into a computer or already exists on a computer, we can put on in the zine. So there are not a lot of limitations as far as artistic mediums. So keep that in mind.
Life is a winding road.